Like, is Drake hip hop?
Why are you doing this to me?
I know.
Drake is
Because we're here
pop.
for truth. We're here for
Drake
truth.
Drake is pop to me.
Right, that's fair. In the sense that it's charting like pop music, popular music.
In the sense, like, if I was in Target in Houston and I heard a Drake song. So it feels like a lot of his music is compatible with shopping. or as
Commercial music,
shopping with an edge in certain instances.
Yasiin Bey, formerly the mighty Mos Def, appeared on the Cutting Room Floor podcast. As discussed previously, this is what went viral across Complex, Hot 97, Consequence, etc. Not this.
Are we seeing like the collapse of the empire? Buying and selling. Where's the message that I can use?
Right.
You know, what's in it for your audience apart from being like banging the pom-poms?
Nor this.
The situation in the Congo is dire. The situation in Sudan is gross. Normalizing this type of barbarity and making children subject to it. And then when you read the record of history, how like this is par for the course, you know? This is par for the course for what they do. What is known as the United States of America is a colonial settler project. These were corporate concerns that were chartered, funded to conquer the new world.
Yeah,
which had
manifest destiny.
already been there, and to plunder it for the sake of the crown, the cross, the king, the so and so and so and so and so and so.
Or this.
Now, that's been working for some time now, and working is a very loosely defined term.
Mm-hmm.
Nonetheless, that's a king, but what's a crown to the clouds? Right? You know, and the kingdoms come and go.
And through all of this, something that I brought up yesterday was Bey's lyricism, his impact, and his activism, pointing out the injustices, the atrocities in this political hellscape known as the United States of America.
I know it's heartbreaking. You should be heartbroken. That means your heart is working. If you're heartbroken and it's distressing, that means that you are sane. You are a functioning individual. If you are uncomfortable and you're maladjusted to a sick society, it means that you are healthy. This is a challenging time, sure, to say the least. But I can't embrace despair, even though it sometimes feels very attractive and sensible to do so. You know. Through the demise, my heart is still alive. It looks awful outside, but it's still worth a try.
And one mention made in the piece was this, back in July of 2013.
The month of Ramadan has just started, and Muslims everywhere observe it by fasting from sunrise to sunset. And what of the more than 100 detainees on hunger strike at Guantanamo Bay Prison? As we've been reporting for months on this program, the U.S. has been force-feeding them twice a day. But in deference to their Muslim faith, the Pentagon now says that they will only be force-fed at night. It's a painful process. They're strapped to a chair, a feeding tube is inserted into their nose for up to 2 hours.
When, to raise awareness, he did this.
Fair warning, this is not an act, it is graphic and it is real.
Stop it, please. Stop! That's me. Please stop. I can't do it anymore.
At the time of the release of this video, the New Yorker's Emily Greenhouse wrote, the Obama administration has been force-feeding them, citing the policy of the DoD to support the preservation of life and health by appropriate clinical means and standard medical intervention in a humane manner. In a further nod to the humane, it has decided for the duration of Ramadan to force feed them, only after sunset and before dawn. But federal judge Gladys Kessler would rule at the time. It is perfectly clear from the statements of detainees, as well as the statements from the organizations just cited, that force feeding is a painful, humiliating, and degrading process. She called it illegal and unethical. After Michael Brown's death in Ferguson, Missouri, Bey's activism went even further, and he tried to tell everybody about how police, throughout all of his lyrics, but of course, when this happened, how the police target marginalized communities, the urgency to change this miserable condition on this earth, he said, as Malcolm X said, is occurring to many of us and reaffirming itself. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. It's an opportunity for necessary change, positive change, and it's not necessarily convenient or comfortable, as I'm sure it is with any period of growth. I read somewhere that in order for an arrow to fly, the bow has to be drawn back with some pressure involved, and I think we're all feeling that pressure. Some of us are more aware of it than others. Some of us are trying to drown it out, but we all feel it one way or another in indelible ways in these times and days. He would add, we have a great deal of power as a people, as human beings, to change ourselves and our environments. I think that we're being tested on that. How much do we believe in our own ability? How much do we believe that we have a right, a duty to defend our quality of life, our very lives? Do we believe in the system, an oppressive, murderous system, more than we believe in our ability to change it? We've been bamboozled, as Malcolm said. We've been run amok. We out here thinking that the Wizard of Oz is a giant when the wizard is just a frail, scared figure behind a great curtain projecting the image of power. And really the power is with us, in us. He spoke on his faith after the T-word attacks in Paris. A big giant blank off to, you see it, you don't represent nothing about Islam and nothing about the Prophet. He would then say, love must and will prevail. I don't care how corny it sounds. The world has been in a state of emergency. The problem is not Islam or organized religion. The problem is people's lack of compassion and care for themselves and their fellow human beings. We don't treat each other well. We need to treat each other better. In 2005, when President George Bush abandoned his Americans, abandoned his countrymen, women, child, with the hurricane that struck New Orleans, Yasiin Bey did something. While Gnarls Barkley was bagging awards and Jay-Z was performing and the Black Eyed Peas were performing and getting awards, Bey did something different. He went against the grain. He performed Katrina Clap on a flatbed truck outside the MTV Video Music Awards. This was outside a Radio City Music Hall, New York City. Bey was bringing awareness to the inhumane atrocities committed against our own people. Now that, my friends, is a Black Dante exclusive. His publicist at the time would say, Mos Def did not set out to get arrested or break laws. His only intention was to remind people that after 1 year, the people hardest hit by Katrina still need the support of all Americans. Mos Def chose to use his voice to speak for those who are losing their own during this critical period of reconstruction. Never forget as well, because he has a song with him, he's collaborated with him. When Kanye wore that stupid White Lives Matter shirt with Candace Owens, Yasiin did his own thing as well. He responded with this tee that you see on your very screens. He has created art installations. He has walked for the late Virgil Abloh. He has acted in the movie with Bruce Willis, 21 Blocks, Dexter on Showtime, set to star as Thelonious Monk, though there was some contention with Monk's estate. He performed on Broadway, and his lyrics ring true to this day. Why? Because he continues holding up a mirror to say, look at what we are doing. Look at mankind, and yet it falls on the powerful's complete complicity and silence to this day. In addition, Yasiin participated in protest and benefit concerts. He's organized the Hip Hop for Respect project to speak out against police brutality, approached New York City Hall, demanding the withdrawal of the $1 million bounty for Assata Shakur. We covered that in a previous clip. Released the Katrina Clap song, done a social experiment with Gitmo, and much more. That concert, by the way, also had the God tier MC with Black Thought and The Roots. I have seen them before in LA and they're fantastic. I've seen them twice now. Dead Prez was also there as well. I'm not going to rap it because I know that I'll get crushed for it. But the message here is every single outlet latched on to the Drake diatribe, whether true or not true. Every single outlet picked up on it. And we don't have to go that far back in time when Dead Prez wrote and rapped about it. What's on the radio? Propaganda, mind control. Turning it on is like putting on a blindfold. That's all that this BS is. This is it. Years later, and we still fall for the same traps as society. The BS, the complete lack of substance. That's getting play. What's not getting play is what he said afterwards. The current situations we are in as mankind. Stunning. He has crushed on Bill Maher. He called out music as a whole. And he changed his name to Yasiin for this reason. I began to fear that Mos Def was being treated as a product, not a person. So I've been going by Yasiin since '99. At first, it was just for friends and family, but now I'm declaring it openly, is what he told GQ in 2012.